And you're listening to 91.3 FM, WCW in Worcester, Massachusetts. And our next guest on the show is Cosplayer that I met at the Hartford Comic Con back in September of last year. Katie Coe. Thank you for coming on the show with us, Katie.
Hey, hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. When we met on the Comic Con on Saturday, you were dressed as a dark energy Supergirl or something like that?
Yeah. I was a dark Supergirl. She comes about because of Black Kryptonite.
That's right, from her original series right after her debut, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Ian Churchill's run.
Yeah, Lex Luthor uses the Black Kryptonite. He thinks that it's going to make Supergirl evil, but it actually just splits her in half and makes like an evil twin almost. And there's all sorts of craziness that ensues after that, and Wonder Woman eventually sets it straight with her lasso. But
here's the thing: I never finished the story, and the big reason why is because my inner feminist came out when Lex Luthor points out her inadequate chest or something like that. I was just like, oh my god! I knew Lex Luthor was a lot of things. I mean, I kind of knew he was obviously a sexist, but Jesus Christ, who the frick wrote that?
Yeah, it's
unimpressive. That's what he says. Unimpressive chest. I was like,
there's a lot of that in the comics.
Yeah, but that was crazy. I couldn't believe they actually wrote that. Yeah. Did you ever hear the interview with Rob Liefeld about Supergirl and the most ridiculous piece of artwork he's ever drawn for her? It was either Rob Liefeld or it was Michael Turner. I can't remember. They wanted Supergirl drawn completely naked, and he was like, well, how would you know it was her? I mean, is she gonna have the cape around her, but then she's not naked? Yeah. And he's like, because the guy was literally like, I want to see Supergirl naked. Can you draw it for me? And he's like, how would you tell it's her? It's just a naked woman.
a naked blonde feet. But you know what? I could do that. How much does he want? You know, that's not a problem.
He ended the conversation when he pointed out that she was still 17 years old.
Yeah. That's a little awkward.
One of my favorite things with Supergirl at one point was she was dating Captain Boomerang's son.
Okay.
The good Captain Boomerang, after his father died, he took up the boomerangs from the Rogues for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like dating him, and it was kind of weird. Like they kept it in secret because he knew who her cousin was. He would, I mean, what does he do? He throws boomerangs at Superman. Superman's just gonna be like, snap! What did you do to my cousin?
I feel like there'd be a lot of keeping a lot from Superman now.
And of all the things that you have to that you do as a cosplayer, and such, is Supergirl your most popular, or is it Kraven the Hunter?
I'm not sure. Supergirl is pretty popular. Unfortunately, not as many people are as familiar with the dark Supergirl backstory.
I hope they do that on the show.
Yeah.
I would love to see Melissa Benoist in a black Supergirl costume.
Yeah, that would be pretty badass.
Hey, I'm not made of stone. I will admit, I watched Supergirl because I think the show is not that bad. I like the characters, and I love the way Melissa looks in that costume.
Yes, you can be honest, you know?
It's not, yeah, there's nothing wrong with, I mean, there are lots of women who watch Arrow for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
And they're like these two guns on the Arrow stars. And that opening sequence where he's like jumping the bars, like shirtless.
Yeah. I have to admit though, like don't get me wrong, Stephen Amell, if you're out there, hey. But
Katie will be your Supergirl.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm more.
Felicity dead? Sure, Katie will step in. Oh wait, did I spoil something?
Oh, I mean what?
No, Felicity didn't die. I'm spoiling that for everybody.
I like the nerd. You know, I like the little awkward fellas. It's I don't know. Barry. I think I'm more of a Barry Allen girl than a Arrow girl.
You know who I'm a big fan of? Is Captain Cold out of all those shows. But I love Wentworth Miller so much from like Prison Break.
Yes, is he not fantastic?
But I love him on that show as Captain Cold, especially the Christmas episode. Every episode he's in, he's got that, just the way he talks. I'm just like, oh man, Wentworth Miller, you're so cool.
He's just so ornery. I love how mischievous he's made that character.
It is the best. He has made that his own.
Yes. I swear he just reminds me of like the younger bratty brother He was.
Well,
like,
he is. I mean, on Prison Break.
Yeah,
And-
I guess so.
And Prison Break's coming back.
Is it really?
Don't ask me how they're doing that. I don't even know. It's like, didn't he die in the last episode? He got blown up.
Listen. There are ways around that, okay?
And they go to his funeral, and they walk away, and he's, like, buried. I'm like, okay, Prison Break's pretty much grounded in reality. They don't resurrect him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, Prison Break was supposed to go for 6 years and only went for 4, so. And, of course, the X-Files returns tonight. Are you a big fan of the X-Files?
I watched it when I was younger. I did, watch it, but I'm not. I have a lot of friends who are like, "Oh my God, it's coming back on," and it's cool to see it come back, but I'm not, sweating it. I'll check it out.
I can't wait. I've been waiting for this like I've been waiting for The Force Awakens.
Oh, wow.
Which I still haven't seen yet, so no.
That's okay.
No, I saw The Force Awakens the day it opened.
Oh. Well, I'm like, hey, you could be really busy, or that could happen. But no, I like X-Files. I'm just not. I don't know why. It was right up my alley when I was younger. I don't know why I never really got hooked on it.
For anyone who can't see Katie like I can, she was more into Xena and Spike from Buffy.
Yeah.
And Xena's coming back. They're making a new Xena show.
Xena is coming back. I'm curious to see how that goes. I was just talking about that earlier because I'm.
They're just running out of ideas. They're just going to resurrect the stuff that worked and that failed in the end. Like Xena died in the end. X-Files died in the end. Buffy kind of fizzled out with that last episode. Was like blah. I mean, the season was good, but that last episode sucked. Same thing with Angel. Prison Break, same thing. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, let's just bring it back. But we're not going to retcon the ending because we know that will piss people off. We'll just make a better show than the way we ended it.
I'm curious to see because I'm Lawless, so I don't know what they're gonna do.
Well, she's on Ash versus the Evil Dead now, so
yeah. She's so fierce. I love her. Oh.
And she was on Spartacus.
Yeah.
And she was doing all sorts of things on Spartacus. You were like, oh my.
You're like, oh, we'll see. Oh my goodness.
And she's still doing it because, like, on Ash vs. the Evil Dead, she gets burned alive and she resurrects and she's completely naked. And you're just like, woo, good job, Lucy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good for her. Like, all right.
And you're, pushing 50, and you're just like, you know what? Still working out and showing it off.
Like, I still got it.
This is what stuff they wanted to see on Xena for years. I'll be honest though, if they bring Xena back, they need to put it like on Stars and make it like as violent as Spartacus. They don't need none of this like you get slashed, you fall down. No, freaking heads being chopped off and limbs being torn apart and just really nasty stuff like it was supposed to be back then. None of this cookie cutter shit like on the CW. Game of Thrones style, just blood everywhere.
Oh my goodness! Run, Gabrielle! Run! Get out of here!
Really somebody take a beating or whatever, not just like a slow motion, oh, I fall down. No, like really just blood and grime and grit, you know what I mean? Really show Xena being this like just hardcore bitch.
Yeah, we'll see. Like you said, they're recycling a lot of things right now. It's I always kind of laugh, like, what next? Like, what's going to be the next show that I watched 15 years ago that I'm going to be able to turn on the TV and watch? SpongeBob never went away.
Power Rangers never went away. Transformers is still going on every single year. Pokemon's still going on.
Pokemon's still there. I'm looking back at my thing now, like, okay, all right, here we go. TV, producers, managers, whatever. If you want to bring back, a little bit of something, I hear there's this show called Firefly. Firefly.
The biggest problem with that is Nathan Fillion's making way too much money doing Castle, and that Castle's in its 8th season, which I don't think it's going to end this season because they just did a huge contract renewal thing. So you're not going to bring Castle back with the star of the show who is making Disney money.
Come on.
Did you see Alan Tudyk's Con Man?
I didn't watch. I haven't seen it. I saw the trailers for it.
It's so awful, but it's.
Oh no! Is it really?
It is. The problem is not Alan Tudyk. Alan is fine. Like, he acts like a character, a joke version of like a guy who was on a show like Firefly that got prematurely canceled, but is so beloved by fans. But he has to do cons in order to get, make his mortgage and money and stuff like that. And, like, the other star of the show is Nathan Fillion. The other actors on the show suck. Even Felicia Day was on 2 episodes, and she was awful. She was his, like, liaison for this convention, and all she kept doing was throwing up. And it was just like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to watch Felicia Day throw up in every episode because she's got like a stomach problem. You know what I mean? I want to see Felicia Day be Felicia Day quirky and cool, not this. And then there's this like annoying manager friend of his that's like this like woman old enough to be his grandmother, and she's trying to be all like sexual and cool, and it's just gross and really uncomfortable. It's not like, oh, age doesn't matter. No, this is just really disgusting to watch sometimes. And there's a lot of garbage on the show, and it's just, it was really hard to get through. Thankfully, all the episodes are only 15 minutes apiece.
I'm really surprised, though. Like, when I saw the trailers for it.
Yeah, they showed you the best stuff. Yeah, they showed you the best stuff in the trailer, but that show is not good.
That is so disappointing. I love Alan Tudyk. Oh my gosh, he's just hilarious, and he becomes completely whatever character he's portraying, and of course Nathan Fillion. It's just
like Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh my god, I love Tucker and Dale.
And of course, he's gonna be in Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Oh really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep, he's one of the rebels that's part of the plan to steal the Death Star plans. Which is like, did we really need a movie about something that was a one-line plot line in the original Star Wars? I mean, I understand there's probably like a lot to that heist to steal the plans to this battle station, but of all the stories in Star Wars that we don't know about yet, that's the one you tell us? I would have rather seen Ian McGregor play Obi-Wan Kenobi like on Tatooine. Which he's like lobbying for. He's like, I want to do an Obi-Wan Kenobi solo movie on Tatooine. And we're like, yes, that would be great. The only part of the prequels that was fantastic was you as Obi-Wan Kenobi. How about this? How about a Yoda origin story?
No more origin stories.
But 800 years of Jedi Yoda that we don't know about. Come on.
You know what? Mystery is good. Mystery is okay, because if I see one more damn origin story from Marvel or something, I don't want to keep. I know how these people came to be, and I get it. Like, there are people who are new.
Like, how many stories can you keep telling about the character until you tell the story that has never been told, like Wolverine's origin?
Yes, yeah, it's I don't know. Like, the thing I was talking with someone about the other day, like Spider-Man. I swear, if I see one more Spider-Man origin, I'm just that we know who Peter Parker is. Like, let's just move on. It's
like okay, so the Batman versus Superman movie, they revealed who's playing Bruce Wayne's parents, and I'm like, oh my god, are they really gonna show us Batman's origin again? Oh look, it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan is playing Thomas Wayne. I forget who's playing his mom, and I'm just like, really? We get it. Their parents were gunned down in an alley. Stop it. Yeah. Jeez, we have an entire TV series about it now.
Yeah. How many times do we have to see Bruce become an orphan? Like, we get it. We know.
Did you ever meet that couple? Did you ever meet that couple at Comic Con who dresses Martha and Thomas Wayne and lay down in front of every Batman they see?
No, I've never had the chance to meet them, but I've seen their pictures.
So wrong, but so funny. They just lay down in front of Batman. Son, oh, they have like blood on them.
I love that though.
That's like at a Halloween party. There was a woman dressed as Jackie O walking around with like half her face is covered in blood, and she's like, Jack, are you here? I was like, oh.
Okay, no, I gotta draw a line. That's not cool.
Somebody was a Dale Earnhardt zombie with half of his helmet smashed in.
Oh my god, what kind of Halloween party is this?
There was a guy who came in just his pants. He's no shirt, no socks, no shoes, just a pair of pants. He's like, I'm a premature ejaculation. I came in my pants.
Okay, all right, that's okay. I like that one. That one's funny.
Speaking of costumes, the whole reason you're on the show. Do you design your own?
I do. but you know, like the dark Supergirl is pretty close. I added a little bit of armor to that. Kraven, I made a female. I like to do.
Why does Supergirl need armor? That doesn't make any sense.
Why do any of them need armor? Okay.
Well, Batman, Arrow, he needs armor. I mean, the Green Arrow needs armor. Obviously, Quicksilver needed some armor.
No, that's too soon. Too soon.
He's not fast enough to outrun a bullet.
too soon for. That was so sad. I don't know.
Apparently, the families of certain superheroes need armor too. Uncle Ben, Martha and Thomas Wayne. Who else got gunned down? You do Spider-Man cosplay characters. You do Kraven the Hunter, which is pretty popular.
Yeah, I was kind of
like a woman in a leopard thing. Now you're not doing the Kraven's Last Hunt loincloth look.
No. No. The spandex.
Come on! I mean, I'm sure that would be very popular at conventions. Just make sure you wear underwear underneath it.
I'm working through different costumes. I really am a pretty modest, or at least I'm a little. I know it's maybe modest isn't the best word. I do. I used to be very shy as far as what I would consider wearing, and cosplay has really been a great way for me to kind of be more accepting of myself and kind of putting myself out there. And I really don't have anything that's.
I think that's a really good statement to make, because I know a few women who are like, they do. Who constantly just like crapping on themselves on Facebook, and I'm just like, I gotta turn off their notification feeds because I'm all here. All they're doing, I mean, you can only tell somebody they're beautiful so many times, and it's just like they gotta find it out for themselves. But then they do cosplay, and sometimes the cosplay they're doing is really revealing. You're like, look, you are beautiful. Look at this. Yeah. You are really hot.
I do. I think
Stop
it's
beating yourself up on Facebook every 5 minutes. I'm tired of reading about your negative feelings about yourself, because you obviously don't have that at conventions. Because at conventions, you are this amazing looking thing in this costume.
Yeah.
How come those two can't translate together? And maybe I'm not a psychologist. I don't know, but it's. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I have to be honest. Like, as far as like the gals who will go online and say that they're not pretty, and all of that. Even, obviously I'm a female. I've had my moments of self-doubt for sure, and especially years ago when I was younger, I was really insecure about myself. But I don't know, maybe I'm just not that type of person who gets on social media and is like, dear everyone I know and a lot of strangers, I feel so fat today and I just feel like I look like shit. Like, if I really feel that way, I don't need to broadcast it and get 10,000 people commenting on it. Like, that's something that I really feel like I need to just address myself, like fix myself. I'm not going to put all that out there. And I think cosplay has been really great for that, because it has taught me to reach out more, and not slam myself, because nobody should, but just to be more accepting of myself and to understand from a different point of view, It's definitely very, I don't know, it can be very empowering, because you feel a certain way, like Aquaman. When I do my Aquawoman costume, when I put it on for the first time, I was like, oh gosh, I don't know, it's this and that, and people loved it. They really received it well, and it was very like, okay, yeah, all right, good, great, this is as great as I thought that it could be,
Is that basically your best advice for everyone?
No. My best advice is don't wear foam armor on a hot day, and don't cover yourself in body paint if you're going to be walking a lot, and don't. There's a lot of better advice than that. That's just something that I have learned, that everyone does cosplay for their own reasons, but I think it definitely can lend a lot of positivity to what you're working with, if you do it for the right reasons, and if you truly love it for what it is. I know a lot of people that kind of look at it and are like, oh, you're just dressing up, but for me, I make the costumes, and it's the process of putting it together, and it's the community. Like, like you see, I met you at one of the conventions, and it really does become a tight-knit little community of people who, work together or work for each other or with each other. I really love it. There's nothing like going to a convention for me.
What's the next one you're going to?
My next one is Katsucon.
What's that?
It is mainly an anime-based convention. It's coming up in February 12th, 13th, 14th. And like say, I went to Katsucon for the first time last year. That's why I was kind of laughing about the Kraven when we were talking about Kraven, because I had never been to Katsucon. I didn't know what it was like. And I wore Kraven to Katsucon. And no one knew who I was. No one.
Nobody knew you were Kraven the Hunter?
No, because it's mainly...
What the hell? I mean, it's
on anime. There's not a lot of Marvel, not a lot of DC. People thought I was Nida Lee from League of Legends.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I was getting all these names, and I said, what? I went, no, I'm Kraven. And they're like, who's Kraven? It was the first time I wore it out, and I was like, oh my god, nobody knows. No one knows who I am right now. I was just like crazy.
You should like walk around.
Tarzan.
You should walk she Tarzan. You should walk around with like a torn up like black costume, Spider-Man costume.
I know. I sometimes walk around with a mask, like a torn up Spider-Man mask, but I saw this picture of another cosplayer. It was a fella who did Kraven, and he had like this blow up Spidey that he had like he just carry around with him, and it was like battle worn and everything. And I said, well, maybe if I have the Spider-Man, people will recognize who it is. But when I go to the comic conventions, people recognize it right away. It's just that's one of the first places I learned that I really need to have a better beat on what the convention is about,
And it's still kind of sad that nobody at an anime con reads comic books, or no Kraven the Hunter. I mean, he's been around since, God, like, original Steve Ditko days.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's in, like, one of the greatest stories of all time, one of the best Spider-Man stories of all time, Last Hunt, and then, of course, he had a great resurrection as well, as much as that you didn't want to see a character come back from the dead. You're like, wow, that was actually a really good, well-written resurrection story, too.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's...
And now I don't know... I have no idea what Kraven the Hunter's doing, so...
I don't know.
The last time I heard about him was like his daughter trying to find Spider-Girl, who's now called Arana or whatever, the black and white Spider-Girl chick. The Latino Spider-Girl.
Yeah, his what is his? It's
His daughter's crazy.
She is. Why can't I can't remember her. What's her name?
I don't
can't remember.
I don't know.
It's Kravenoff on. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember it because somebody asked me one time. I was at a comic.
But she's like the only sibling left because they killed off. She hunted down Vladimir, killed him.
Vladimir, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the other Kraven was killed off. The Grim Hunter guy who got turned into the lion creature was killed. It's like some really obscure continuity crap with that story arc. You're like, wait, who's this guy? Oh, he was like this other Kraven the Hunter who got killed by Kane. And during the Web of Death storyline, during the Spider-Clone saga. Then who's this guy? Oh, this is Aliosh Kravenoff. He showed up after the Clone Saga ended, and he was a pompous bad guy, and then he became a kind of a good guy, and he helped Spider-Man once in a while. It's really weird and vague, and let's just kill those characters off and just have Kraven.
Yeah, let's just focus on Kraven.
Just kill all his kids.
I was at a comic book shop one time, dressed as Kraven. Now, let me repeat that. I'm at a comic book shop, dressed as Kraven.
Uh-huh.
And a gentleman walks up to me, and because people are always curious, I find, when you're one of the only, gals around in cosplay, and I was only like one of 3 people in the entire area who had cosplay on that day.
Uh-huh.
People like to ask you questions, and they kind of get to talk one-on-one with you about what you do, but he came up to me and he's like, oh, so who are you? And I said, I'm Kraven. I'm doing a gender bent Kraven.
Oh, you know what really kind of gives it away, and I'm going to play devil's advocate in this one? It's your, it's the black leather corset you're wearing. Because Kraven the Hunter is, listen, I know you're not going to go topless, but let's face it, Kraven the Hunter is not wearing anything underneath the vest.
Yeah, you're right. You know, you got me on that.
What you should do is like just tape the vest to your breasts.
Listen, it's at a convention. I'm a generally clumsy gal, so
One might just slip out.
yeah, that's. I mean.
But honestly, I can see, I understand now why people are kind of getting thrown off by it. Because Kraven, literally, he's shirtless underneath that thing.
Listen, people out there, I need you to be a little more open-minded than getting thrown off by a tube top, okay? It is a tube top, but yeah, it's a...
Do you put contacts in to enhance your eyes and make them look more creepier?
No, the only time I only...
Or is that digitally done in the photos to make your eyes look more like, you know, haunting?
Really, my Kraven photos, I don't have to adjust because my eyes are just naturally blue, and that I just leave that with Kraven. I need to get contacts for him. I only have... It's shameful, I know, but I only have one pair of colored contacts.
Is that what you're wearing in the photo?
Which photo? Kraven?
Well, yeah, any of the Kraven, like okay, so like your Harley Quinn, you look like you have naturally blue eyes, but in the Kraven photos, your eyes look like Mel Foster from like Masters of the Universe, Evil Lynn or something.
It's got to be editing then. I have a lot of friends.
It's got to be editing because your eyes look creepy in that.
No, I used to have this. I've had people comment on the color of my eyes. It's just a really light blue color, my eyes. And I had one guy a couple years ago who was I guess, was interested. We were talking and seeing if it was going anywhere. And he said, you know, I just want to tell you, I love your eyes. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And he said, yeah, I don't know, I guess the color you'd call it like dead girl blue. I was like, what?
Was it a horror convention? Where that's like a term of endearing, like, oh my god, that's the sweetest thing ever. Like I told a woman in the play I was in, I was like, Francis, if I didn't know you, you would scare me in the play. And she holds her mouth. She's like, oh my god. I was like, oh no. She's like, that's the sweetest thing someone could say to me about my performance. Because she plays like this psycho bitch, like Sherlock Holmes, Batman kind of character in this play I was in last weekend. And she's like literally frightening to watch sometimes. But she's like this nicest little person in real life. Very timid, very soft-spoken. But man, in the play, you're just like, fuck, woman, you scare me.
That I could understand. You know, that would make sense, but... No, we was just some fella that we were just talking, and I'm gonna say, out of everything I've ever heard, that is probably one of the most interesting. I have a toy shop, you know, I buy and sell toys, so...
Is that what you do for a living?
Yeah, that is my, as you would call it, 9 to 5.
You own a toy shop? What's the name of the... You own a toy shop or you own a website?
It's it's a website. We don't have a physical store.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, wow, that's so freaking cool.
Oh my gosh, no.
You and your husband own this toy shop and you cosplay.
Oh.
Ever more reason we gotta go to the toy shop. The owner cosplays us all the time and she's hot.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that was okay.
Come to the toy shop anytime once it's open.
My booth girl was saying the same thing about you, by the way, at the Hartford Comic Con. She's like, who is that girl? You have to have her on the show. Damn. She's hot.
Your booth girl was a cutie,
for
sure.
So going back to cosplay, because this actually brings something else up interesting that happened at the Hartford Comic Con. There was this woman who came over the table like every day. Very, very sweet person. She was dressed as, I think she was dressed as Rogue one day. Another day she was dressed as, God, I can't remember. And then one day she was Harley Quinn. I forget who the second character she was. And she was just gorgeous. And every single one was like, oh my God, this woman. I've got to ask her. And I finally get to the third day and I ask her out. I should have asked her out on the second or first day because she had just gotten done being manhandled by somebody. The horrors of cosplaying as a woman. What's like the worst that's ever happened?
You know, I've really been lucky as far as touching. A lot of times, and they don't even mean to, and like say, I'm a really open-minded, like relaxed, I don't get really peeved off about things. So I have a lot of people that will come up and they'll, you know, try to hug you, and sometimes I've never met these people. They'll come up and they'll hug you,
Yeah.
or they see your costume and they grab at it because they're genuinely curious. You know, they're like, oh, what is this made out of, or what is that? So I've been really lucky to never have anyone touch me inappropriately. I've never had anyone say anything inappropriate to me. I have overheard, you know, men, unfortunately. I've never had a woman do something like that, but I have overheard men next to me talking about me, not in a mean way, but in a very, you know, very yeah, lewd.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah, and just talking like that. I think the worst thing for me personally is, especially when I started, before I really learned to just speak up for myself. I actually have gone to conventions and even events, and I've been grilled, like tested almost. One day, I told a few of my friends this story. I was walking in my own town, and I had on some like Batman clothes, you know, just normal like Batman belt, like that kind of thing. And I was actually stopped by these two fellas who were walking down the same street, and they started grilling me about Batman as if I didn't have the right to wear a Batman belt if I didn't know everything there was about Batman. And
Don't you know you're not allowed to do that because you're a woman?
Right, right. That's exactly what it was. And I've experienced that a few times. Like, I never, ever would have assumed it would ever happen, but that has happened to me multiple times. And it's just really frustrating. Or I was at, you know, I told you I have a toy business, my husband and I, and we bring our toy booth to conventions. And I was at a convention.
You didn't bring that to Hartford Comic Con, did you?
We did. We never, I don't think you made it over to it. We were on the other side of the convention.
I made it all over the place, but I don't remember. All right, go on.
Yeah, we have the toy.
I just don't remember ever meeting you at a booth. It was always out and about, and you came over to our booth.
Yeah. I headed over to you guys. I was at a convention 2 weeks ago, and I had the toy booth set up, and my husband couldn't make it that weekend, so it was just myself, and I asked a gentleman friend to come help me because it's just a lot of, you know, stuff to watch.
Yeah.
And I actually had a guy come up to the booth, and he completely ignored me. I'm standing there, and I'm you know, talking to people. He completely ignored me. He's asking my friend things, and my friend doesn't know anything about toys. He was just helping me. And he kept referring to me, and finally the guy's kind of like getting confused, and my friend goes, this is her booth, like she's the one you want to ask. And the guy looks at me shocked, and he's like, oh, this is yours? I just thought you were like a booth. This killed me. I couldn't believe that somebody even now could be so narrow-minded. Like,
well, if you go to a con in between here and in between New York and in Framingham, and you need someone your husband can't stand in, I know enough about toys that I will be your booth babe. I will put on your Supergirl costume for you.
You know what? I would pay you to put on that Supergirl costume.
Really?
But you have to wear everything. You have to wear the boots. You have to wear.
Can I wear pants?
Corset.
Can I wear pants?
No pants. No pants. Just a mini skirt and high heels.
Can I wear the Kraven the Hunter costume instead?
No.
Okay, one day. Okay, how about this? One day I'll wear the Supergirl costume.
Okay.
As long as it guarantees me to get laid by a woman.
Let me tell ya, a girl's gonna see you and they're gonna say, any man who is that confident that's it. That's who I want.
I'll be honest with you. You have a little bit too much midriff showing for me, and your midriff is fine, but I would definitely need to start like doing some sit-ups to get mine.
You can wear my Doctor Strange cosplay. That's a full body.
Oh yes, I'd love to totally do that because the movie's coming out.
I know. I can't wait. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is gonna kill it.
Hopefully, that guy needs a big hit in the theaters because he's had like mediocre success in movies.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that's gonna take off. So I'm excited.
Star Trek wasn't that big of a, huh?
I said you can wear that one.
All right, I'll wear that. But if you need somebody to do your booth for you, I will, and your husband's not available, I will totally come out if it's between us and be your booth babe. Or you're a super knowledgeable guy at the booth while you run around in, promoting the booth, whatever. You can leave it in someone's hands and like, oh yeah, so this is this, and this is this, and this is this. And like the entire conversation we just had about Buffy and Xena and Angel and Spike and Kevin Smith and Final Fantasy and Harley Quinn and why Margot Robbie sucks and why Tara Strong is fantastic.
Now, I'm so curious. Like, I know we talked about it when that Suicide Squad movie comes out. I can't wait. You and I have to talk again afterwards.
When is that coming out? In August?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's not for a while.
Is there a convention around that time?
August. Yes, I actually have the Dover Comic Con.
Where's that?
Is it August, I believe. That's in Dover, Delaware.
Oh, I don't know where that is.
I'm lucky if people know where Delaware is, okay? I understand. I get it. It's just a little old guy. But yeah, no, Dover Comic Con, it's a great convention here. I live in Delaware. And
I thought you lived in New York.
No, I live in Delaware.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, Hartford was a trip for us.
Well, we'll stay in contact through Facebook, and then you can come back on when that happens. That's not for a long time. That's not until August. So, and then I don't know when Hartford's is happening again. I don't know if I'm going to go again or not. It all just kind of depends on stuff or whatever. But again, you go to Hartford and you need someone to run your booth for you, or you need an extra hand. If your husband does come, and you need an extra hand. Let me know.
Oh,
I will be your super knowledgeable, geeky guy, and I'll wear the Supergirl costume with a shirt underneath covering my belly. I gotta wear a shirt. I can't do it without the shirt. I can't. My stomach is just. I'm super conscientious about my belly fat.
You know what? That's even more reason I tell you have to get into cosplay. I'll help you get started. I'll make.
I have cosplay. I can't do it while running my booth. I couldn't do it while running my own booth.
Yeah, that's definitely.
If you've seen my pictures on Facebook, I have Yokai from Big Hero 6.
I realized you did cosplay.
Yeah, look at my Facebook pictures. I have Yokai from Big Hero 6. He's the guy in the kabuki mask.
Yes.
Indiana Jones. More of a Halloween costume, but I still wear it at conventions because I spend a lot of money on the different pieces. Castiel from Supernatural, and I'm working on Hawkeye right now. A casual kind of Hawkeye costume. Very like a casual Hawkeye costume, like from a. It's from a thing in the back. It's from a sketch in back of I think Volume 1 of Hawkeye, the really awesome Hawkeye comic book that ended. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, the one he shared with Kate Bishop. So there's a sketch in the back of there that I'm making into a costume, which looks really cool. And what's the other cosplay I'm working on? Somebody is supposed to be making me a prosthetic bumpy headpiece for my Buffy the Vampire Slayer vampire.
You're gonna do a vampire from Buffy?
Yeah, he's supposed to be making me the prosthetic headpiece.
Oh, now where are you gonna wear it?
I don't know. I first of all, I gotta get it made. I gotta get a hold of him and be like, all right, let's get backtrack on making this thing, because I remember he was like, he got a mold in my forehead. I don't know if he ever got it made, but then I also gotta get the contacts, and I hate touching my eyes. Ugh. So I need those yellow. Really? Yeah, that's the problem though. I'm not a big fan of touching my eyes, so I need the yellow contacts that the vampires have. Yeah. So.
It's and if you haven't, definitely, because I wear glasses obviously, and I have contacts just to wear around, but even the colored ones, I had one pair of colored contacts, which I really need to add to my inventory this year, but it's so different even just having the colored contacts on, because it kind of gives you like a little bit of a haze, and the diameter's a little bigger, but definitely make the time to wear them around and get used to them beforehand.
And the other cosplay I'm working on is a Castlevania-like character from Castlevania. Yeah. There's not one. The problem is there's so many characters. I'm not going to be like one specific character, because Simon Belmont, if you see what he looks like He-Man, but with a bondage whip. So that's not. I'm not as strong as He-Man, so I'm not going to pull that off. So I'm going to put together like a medieval costume, but be like a vampire hunter. But I'll have the whip with me, and then people will get, oh, you're from Castlevania. There you go, because you have the whip. Yes, the whip is for cosplay and for fun afterwards, if you'd like to find out.
But only if you ask. You gotta ask. You can't just assume,
I was at Anime Boston, and there were a couple women really interested in whips. Like, what else do you use the whip for? I'm like, oh, well, let me show you.
Here, sit down. down. Let me explain.
Did you have a hotel room? I have mine. Let's go back and experiment with the whip. Keep the costume on now.
No. Let me tell you, there's nothing good about that fantasy. Like I said,
have you ever seen that movie "Wish You Were Here" with Zach Braff? I think it was from Scrubs.
Wish You Were Here. Why does that sound so familiar?
You've seen Scrubs?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
You know the main character from Scrubs?
Yes.
He funded this movie. It was kind of based on his own true story of like dealing with his father's death, and he takes him and his kids out for a day, and his brother is the super genius, but he lives in like this trailer park, and he pisses off his next door neighbor by making like the ultimate cosplay costume and winning the contest at San Diego Comic Con, which infuriates the hell out of her because her costume was awesome, but his was better because he literally did it in like the last minute and they're like enemies. And the next thing you know, after he's like walking down the hall, like in the slow motion walk with the trophy in his hands and he's nodding at her, the two of them are in his hotel room fucking in costume. And she's got like the bear costume on, but except for the pants part of the bear around her ankles. She's got the full headpiece on, and she's getting fucked. He's got like this octopus costume.
See, that is definitely one of those things where it's like beforehand you're like, oh yeah, that would be interesting, but once you've done, and I'm sure you can attest this, once you've worn cosplay or any costume around, really, by the end of that day you're like, to hell with this. Like, where are my pajamas?
You're like peeling it off the sweat on your body.
Oh my god.
You need to hose that thing down.
Yeah, I went to New York Comic Con this year, and I went as Aquawoman. And what I failed to remember is how hot foam gets against your body.
That's not real metal. I mean, come on.
Oh my god, it was awful. I got lost because that's just who I am. I never am good with directions. So I got lost, ended up parking. I don't even know how far away. It was tremendously awful. We're nowhere close to
Not just awful, but tremendously awful, ladies and gentlemen.
It was tremendously awful. You know when you're in costume in New York and you're on the same like block that the convention is? It's like, ha ha ha. I'm not kidding you. I was over a mile away. Like, it was awful. And by the time I got to the Javits Center, I'm like, I'm head to toe in like spandex and foam, and I'm meeting friends there. My hair is up. I'm just like covered. My body was like, you could have put cookies on my ass and baked them. It was awful. People are hugging me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, my body temperature was just so high. It was awful.
Considering what Elena said about your ass, I guess it is kind of hot enough to bake cookies.
I'm not kidding.
And that's the nicest thing I'll mention that she said.
There's definitely, I need to write a book about like or my friend Chris Gallagher, he owns Kraven Comics in Pottstown, and he told me that I should write something like, I can't remember what it was, like the dirty side of cosplay, or like cosplay's worst secrets, like that kind of thing, so maybe we'll have to work on that one day.
Like the worst things you don't want to know about cosplayers or something like that?
Right.
Like, let's say you have like some awful like body acne thing going on. The cosplay is like rubbing against it. It creates a zit and it pops it. And you're just like bleeding on the inside of your costume. And it's like gross. And you take your costume off. Like, why is the inside of my costume stained and all brown? And you look at your back. It's this nasty mess.
All right. Okay, that's worse. That is worse than what I've had to experience.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure how extreme we were going with this conversation.
Yeah.
Because we're all human beings and nasty, disgusting shit happens.
It changes? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
I have a lot of stuff that requires two people to get it on. That's a lot of cosplayers do.
I need to go to the bathroom. I need two people to come with me.
You don't go to the bathroom. Here, that's rule number one.
Either you go to the bathroom before you put the costume on, or you don't drink or eat anything the entire time of the con.
No, you're done.
And for a woman, I can understand being a lot more difficult than a guy, where it's the anatomy is a lot easier to access.
Yeah. It's like, say, when you have a costume where you have, you know, sometimes I have to wear, like I have a cosplay coming up where I'll have pantyhose on and then leggings over the pantyhose, and then you have a skirt or shorts and a corset that goes, you know, on top, and you're clipped in. And God help you if you have armor or a cape or gloves and a headpiece like that. No, you just you know what? Don't eat, don't drink, don't go to the bathroom. Just toughen up, man, because you've got, you know, a convention is 8 to 10 hours, and there's nothing like having to ask a friend to go into the bathroom to help you. Like, you just don't do it. You know?
What do you do if you don't have a female friend with you? Do you make one very quickly?
You get real creative if you don't have a female friend with you, because I normally don't. Normally it's just my husband and myself traveling, and that's
Again,
great.
you make friends very quickly.
You do. You make some fast
Hey,
friends.
girlfriend, I need you to spot me while I'm going in and help me out of this costume.
Yeah. Oh, I've had to ask strangers to lace back up my. I've been really, really lucky. I've met some just fantastic people, and other cosplayers are wonderful because there's almost that just, you don't even have to say it. They just understand, like, yeah, okay, hold on. What do you need me to tie? Velcro, pin, zip, whatever. Like, that's great. But even just attendees or artists, I've met some amazing, fantastic artists. Martin
Thankfully,
McKenna.
all of my costumes seem to have pants. I'm actually kind of grateful.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
And a
think
jacket
about-
I can take off and hang on the back of the stall, you know, do my business or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to think of every cosplay I've had. I'm like, everyone has pants. I'm actually kind of grateful. I've actually done cosplays. And it's like, is there anyone coming up I'm doing that I'm going to have problems with? And I'm thinking, no, Hawkeye will have pants. And Vampire, I don't need to worry about that. And what else? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Unless I wear a skirt, but still, even I'll still be fine in that.
I think I only have 2 cosplays right now that aren't pants, which is fantastic. It's just everything else. My Supergirl has a skirt, and then I have a mermaiden that I wear, and that's kind of like a skirt. And yeah, I like to be able to walk around. Usually I'm wearing high heels, and high heels, a short skirt, and being clumsy, which I am, are not a good combination. So it's I try to take precautions. I just went out to the auction this last weekend, and it was my husband and I, we went out, met our usual guy that sells some toys and stuff, and he had like
Your dealer? Your dealer?
Yeah,
Was it like in a shady garage? He like pops open the trunk. All right, I got the stuff you need. And you're sitting there like you're both in like in trench coats and sunglasses, like Deep Throat and
Yeah.
X.
I'm like, hey man, you got my stuff, and yeah, it was some real shady shit. Some real shady shit going on in the toy business, let me tell you.
You both, or how about this? You come dressed as like Kraven the Hunter, and your husband comes dressed as something even more obscure, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck you are.
No, I would definitely not wear my costume. They all know me out there, and I have to look a little more serious when I'm dealing with the toy people. But no, we went to our fella, and he had a whole table full of like horror figures, like Freddy's and Jason's and Michael's, and they're the movie Maniac figures.
Yep.
I think yeah,
Yep.
Movie Maniacs. And I was so mad. We only brought like $100 cash, and my husband usually brings like the debit card, and I brought the cash, and he totally forgot the card. And this flea market is an hour and a half away from my house. So,
Oh fuck.
yeah, I wanted to die. He wanted $150 for everything. I mean, and this was like, that's where I even got my Shaun of the Dead figure that you see behind me. I was so mad. So we gave him the 100. We took like a lot of it, but not all of it. Drove all the way home an hour and a half. Drove all the way back an hour and a half with more money.
Oh my god.
He had sold the pieces.
That's...
He had sold. There were 2 more movie Maniac pieces, and he had sold them, and I was displeased, to say the least.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's that's just part of it, though. You know, I try to remind myself, like, we miss out on some good stuff, but we find a lot of cool stuff. So it's but you probably could have really appreciated those figures. They were pretty badass.
I probably have probably either have a few, but definitely would have they probably would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, next time. That's what I tell myself.
Well, like Tom McFarlane also put out these like Tortured Soul figures based on like Clive Barker designs, which are some really twisted, sadomasochistic looking toys.
Yeah.
All right, we got to end this thing because it's like we're not playing this entire thing. This is like an hour and 25 minutes.
I told you. Listen, I warned you. I said when we get to talking, you never know where the hell it's going to end up.
I got to end this thing down to a good like 30 minutes. Which should be fine because a large chunk of this stop being the fucking interview and just us going on and on about whatever, like shit with Elena's love for you and everything else. Booth girl's love for Katie, that will never happen.
That's all the very best stuff, man.
Yeah, that's what everyone's gonna want to listen to. Your husband's gonna be listening to it too and going, "Who's this girl?"
No, you'd be like, yeah, that's my pain in the ass right there.
Give away your websites as well as your toy website that you and your husband have.
Oh, yeah. All of my cosplay is online. I have my Facebook page as well as Instagram, and those are both under Katie Coe. And then our toy shop is Kanan's Collectibles, which is also on Facebook and Instagram. And I've just started a YouTube channel, so we'll see how that goes.
And what's the name of the YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel is under Katie Coe, and right now I just have my like flea market hauls, different things like that on there.
Cool. Well, don't forget to subscribe to Radio Horror's YouTube channel, which is where your interview will go in about a week or two. Up there with various pictures of you in various stages of cosplay, as well as your action figure collections and stuff like that we can pull. But yeah, that's where your interview would go, and we appreciate you coming on the show with us, Katie. Thank you very much. Hopefully we will run into at a convention coming up, and again, feel free to give us a ring if you are in need of a booth babe at your table.
Oh, I've got a spot waiting for you anytime.